mistakenly thought that this was at 2:15 today. My fault. Luckily, I made it here on time, and then I spilled a seltzer all over my notes on the way here. So hopefully this goes better than my morning. So thank you all for coming today. My name is Tony Gamino. I'm the Director of Marketing at Baruch College. We are located up in Gramercy Park on the border of Gramercy and the Flatiron District. And today I really want to talk to you about how we've come out of a rebranding that we went through 2 years ago, and how we really made that rebranding our own. This is kind of like a look back to everything that we've learned over the past 2 years. Some facts about Baruch. So we are part of the City University of New York. We were founded in 1847 as the Free Academy, the first free public college in the country. We have just over 20,000 students representing 153 countries and 100 languages. And this year we were ranked the #1 public institution in the Northeast by the Wall Street Journal, and also the #1 best public college in New York by U.S. News and World Report. So, yay. The problem that the college faced before the rebranding was that the old branding was, first of all, very outdated, but there was also a real misalignment across the schools in the college. We have the Mark School of International and Public Affairs, the Weissman School of Arts and Sciences, and the Zicklin School of Business. The solution that we came up with was a brand new brand for Baruch. To solve this problem, we hired the firm Ology, which many of you may be familiar with, in 2022, to assist with this complete rebranding. The process, as I mentioned earlier, took over 2 years. From kickoff to completion, and I'm putting completion in quotes because, as many of you may have experienced in the past, I don't know why this one keeps, my closing doesn't want to stay with me. It's a constant work in progress to roll out something of this size. So we're still working to achieve the vision for the rebrand that so much work went into back then. And I started in December of 2023, just as the rebranding work was wrapping up. And so one of my first big tasks, in addition to writing an RFP for a brand new website, which I'd never done before and I don't recommend, was to roll out the activation phase of the new branding. So to solve this problem, I'm going to skip ahead past the 2 years of research, brand audits, interviews, surveys, competitor analysis, all that stuff that goes into a rebrand, and really focus fundamentally on, as I mentioned before, what we've learned over the past 2 years. And I am excited to share with you all the fruits of the labor, the culmination of that work. And I want to thank Ology for putting together this beautiful video for us. And I'm just going to show you this, hopefully. Let's try spacebar. Yes. So beautiful work, right? So then the task became, what do we do with this? How do we make it our own? So these are some examples I'm going to show you on the next few slides of collateral pieces that we created using that visual identity. Here's an undergraduate recruitment brochure that one of my colleagues right there did. Here, and I actually brought these pieces if you want to take a look at them. They're right here in the front. And this was for our Star Career Development Center. Really to focus on using, I'm just going to go back to this one, like using bold colors, original photography that really captures the dynamism of not just the city that we're located in, but our neighborhood. And on the left here, you see a recruitment piece that our admissions folks would take out into the field to lead with counselors or meet with students. In the middle, we redesigned our school newsletter, our digital newsletter, the Baruch Weekly. And then on the left, on the right, you have some examples of logo treatments that we did incorporating the new branding, including the top one, which is for one of our alumni organizations called the 17 Life Society. Baruch Online is our new online initiative, basically, I don't want to say University of Phoenix, you know what I mean. And then this Zicklin type treatment that we're using at the bottom here. We love this big, bold type treatment. We're using it for the other two schools on the new website. And it's okay, it's not a new logo for Zicklin, but it's okay to take something like this that is dynamic and visually beautiful and use it in a way that doesn't step on the toes of the actual logo. So I really want to talk about being authentic in your imagery and your voice. So little pro tip about Gens Z and Alpha, they can suss out if you're faking it. So we over the past 2 years either commissioned photo shoots around campus or around our neighborhood because we're really trying to sell the location as well. And in addition to being incredible designers, our creative team are also talented photographers. So we use a combination of both in-house creative and commissioned photography. But yeah, it's being authentic and capturing and sharing as many moments that students experience as possible is really critical, to launching a successful new brand. So the challenges, the reason you're here. Part one, awareness and bringing everyone on board. So as part of the activation phase, which I mentioned before was kind of one of my first tasks when I started, one of our designers, Nadia Gomez, who is also here, I won't point her out, she created this really incredible resource. We call it the placemat, but it's sort of a cheat sheet, and we shared it with everyone on campus so that they can keep it at their desks and refer to it. If they have questions about the photography or the official color palette, how to use the logo, how not to use the logo, and we've just found it really helpful. And we have an online toolkit that we're in the process of redoing as we do this new website. But we held a rollout event for all of the marketing and communications colleagues across the school to share the culmination of the years of work that we did, and then also to answer any questions that they had about what do we do with this now that we have it. Challenge number 2, a phased approach. I think it's really important to keep in mind that it's okay to roll a rebranding out in phases, like you don't have to go big at the launch. And this you may have seen earlier in that video that Ology put together. So we were so excited about the new branding while we still had about 6 months left in the contract working with Ology while we created a brand new campaign with them. We couldn't wait to get started. So we created this campaign called Built by Baruch, inspired by this one graphic that we saw. Hopefully this starts with play. Yeah. So this campaign featured Google Display, and then for the first time ever, we did out-of-home advertisements on those digital panels that you see at train stations. We used the LIRR and Metro North platforms and geos that we had identified as our target audience. So that was really exciting. It was a way to get the design team and everyone excited about the brand and get in there and get familiar with it while we were waiting for Ology to wrap up their part of the work. So now moving on to that, Built by Baruch was the first campaign. These are some examples of what we did with Ology, and it's called Unstoppable. And here is another example. And I just want to kind of emphasize, go back to the challenge, was that we had this beautiful new visual identity and these beautiful assets to work with, but with the same old website. So what do we do with that? So our workaround was to create a brand new landing page that these ads would point to, with calls to action that bypassed the homepage and went straight to the academics page. So we really worked on refreshing the academics page because that's really why students want to go to college. It's like, what am I going to learn? What are my outcomes? So hopefully this will work because this is what they said I could do. Here's the landing page for the campaign. Dynamic video at the top. I don't know if it's going to scroll. Maybe it won't scroll. Yeah. Our stats. Everyone. The president is very proud of our stats. We're very proud of our rankings and stats. And then here, academic programs, very close to the top. We don't use the term above the fold anymore, and some testimonials, quotes from real students. Keypad is acting wonky, but pretty short and sweet, but incorporating that the stack photography, incorporating that new design language, and then more call to actions at the bottom, and that's it. So after the landing page, let me go to my next note. Let me just share the refresh we did to the academics page. Still stuck in the same WordPress template as the old website, so we did our best to kind of, incorporate the new typography, the new photography, and of course, stats, so that it all sort of felt like as pieces of a whole as best as we could. And this campaign was incredibly successful. We saw a 270% increase in visits to this page year over year. So, by all measures, in our mind, it was a complete success. Challenge 3, managing resistance and knowing when to let go. So not everyone is going to love the work that's done. It's inevitable that you're going to encounter some resistance. If you do encounter resistance, it's really important to emphasize to your colleagues the importance of a unified brand. Brand cohesion leads to consistency across touch points, greater authenticity, and it builds trust. And then for anyone at your college interested in revenue and the financial health of your institution, there is data to back this up. So approximately 23% increase in revenue for consistent brand presentation across all platforms. Also, when it's okay to let go. Allow student-led or student-focused entities to have their own identity separate from the official college brand. These can be student newsletters, club event flyers, or even student-run social media accounts. Now that last part, with the caveat that you need to monitor those accounts, especially if they're going to tag the college, read the comments. And then also your athletics department. In my experience, the athletics department usually have a strong brand to begin with. They have the mascots, and I've experienced that when I was at Queensborough. Hello to my Queensborough friends, and then also at Baruch. So, that's an area of the college or university where it's okay for them to have kind of like a slightly different identity outside of being a college fund. So, next steps. I want to thank our designer Ryan Fishman, who is not here today, for creating this, and I can't wait to tell you the story about the beat. So, as I mentioned at the beginning, a brand rollout isn't something that happens overnight. We're still working to fully realize the vision, our vision, and that includes the new website, which we hope, my VP is here, so I don't want to, we hope will be live at some point in mid-2026. We've completed the build phase of the new website, and we're now focused on drafting all new content, working with our partners across the college that is optimized for AI search, which is critically important now. So if your website is a couple years old, it might already be out of date. And then I want to tell the story about this Baruch B, and the takeaway is to always be open to unexpected branding opportunities. I got to use an ology word there, unexpected. When I first started, I was like, I've never seen this font before, and I kept looking at the Baruch font, and I kept trying to find it. And I couldn't find it anywhere, and it turns out that it was created for the college by someone at some time, but nobody knows when, and an entire font was created. All we have is a bitmap file on our server. So we are stuck basically using the letters in our logo. And I thought that was really interesting because it is unique, and we saw an opportunity to really elevate it and kind of make it an icon for the college. You know, we use it in our social media accounts. We use it in stickers that go in the welcome packet. Obviously on merch. And this is Bernie, our bearcat. That's our mascot. So, yeah, you know, it's one of those things that like we never really expected to come upon. And here's this really cool thing, and it's got an interesting kind of mysterious story, and we've latched onto it as a way to, you know, really talk about fruit. So in summary, remember that change doesn't happen overnight, even if it takes years to create your new brand, and then more years to roll it out. Cheat sheets and toolkits, both online and physical pieces, are great resources for your colleagues so that they can get familiar with the brand. Rollout events, like the one that we held like in person or on Zoom, just to answer any questions that anyone might have. Be authentic in your voice and your imagery. Don't sell future students a false narrative. And we say future students. I don't know how many of you do, like versus prospects, because it's like pedagogy. You know what I mean? It's like we want to speak the language of the people that we're speaking to. So respond to resistance with understanding and by creating tools and templates to aid your colleagues and support the brand. You are the champions of the brand, but the students are the customers. So it's really important that they have a voice and a presence. And be open to new opportunities that strengthen your brand beyond the guidelines, like our B. So with that, I want to thank you and ask if there are any questions.
First of all, before I ask a question about the B and the logo, I don't know if it's intentional, but well, I noticed the rebranding and the ads a couple of years ago. I was like, oh, they're back. It's somewhere uptown, I think, or maybe the Penn Station it must have been. But with the B, if you look at it sideways, is it like the heart emerging from kind of an envelope, or is it like, you know, if you look at it from the like an
like this
envelope,
way?
Yeah, it looks like on the bigger one, it looks like there's a kind of a heart coming out. So there was just something.
Oh, that's a good idea for animating it.
maybe, but
unexpected opportunity. Thank you. I didn't pay him, by the way.
And rolling back to the whole like a branding process, and it looks like you are in the web redevelopment process, right?
Yeah.
For that, two questions: are you using Google, and are you doing it all in-house, or are you outsourcing? What are the details?
We are on WordPress, which is what we're currently hosted on. We're going to be in the newer version of WordPress, and the in-house part is just we're leading as of right now, collecting content from our partners. We just wrapped up the build phase with an agency, and we're going to be partnering with someone probably for the content strategy, content development phase.
Once we're done, we'll just kind of have a conversation with you about some opportunities that we might discuss.
Okay.
Some good
Unexpected
ideas.
opportunities.
Yeah.
So I know you mentioned for a student ran like clubs Let It Go. My question is, how involved were students in the rebrand, and how much of like the lexicon of like what students used to subscribe to school did you guys dive into? So I'm an alumni. There's a phrase that you got Baruch, which is when you stay a little longer than you should.
So that's a really good question, and because all of that research for the discovery phase happened before I started, you guys, do you mind, our design team is here, do you mind just sort of talking about like how the students at the college were involved in the process? I know that there were some focus groups, weren't there? Yeah?
Well, our team wasn't deeply involved, but I know that there were focus groups, with students and like different groups around college, like staff, faculty, etc. And as far as like the graphics language that the students use, I don't really feel it was deeply considered, to be honest. But I think it should have been, looking back, because it is a very lively visual culture that we have at the school. There's like very active clubs and organizations and stuff, and I'm always looking at it just as a visually oriented person. So at least on my level or something, like I do in a way incorporate it or note it, and like it does. I feel that I'm part of my school's visual language. And I don't know if like my feel like crazy.
So Jose, when were you a student at Baruch? Thanks.
2016 to 2020.
So you would have been there when this work was underway. Maybe you just missed it. Oh wait, no, I think it started in 2022, so you did just miss it by a couple of years.
Yeah.
But it is critically important to have student input, and we're incorporating some of that with the website work as well. Any other questions? Thank you all. You're a great audience. No one threw any bananas in. I'm gonna call you. I don't know why.